You know what it is. I'm Parlay Hunter.
And I'm Life with D Green, man.
This is a Bro Media production. We call it Bro Bets. What's good, my man Dre?
I'm good, man. I'm chilling out in the office, getting ready. I got to do some things, getting ready to hit the road for travel season here in a minute, man. But you know what, man? The travel season can wait. We are finally here. It is conference championship week. This is very important. 1 year last year, we were getting ready for the Eagles to face the 49ers, and we were getting ready for the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, to face the Cincinnati Bengals. So this is, fast forward, man. Life is went crazy for both of us, and we're here, man. So you know, I know we got some topics to jump into, but first of all, it's crazy that we started this show in the beginning of the year and we're here finally into the deep of the playoffs, man. What has stood out to you the most about this year? If you can label the theme of the NFL year in one word or one phrase.
Good question. Surprise. There was some great surprises, but there always is in the NFL. I mean, the Detroit Lions are in the NFC Championship. Do you think you would have been saying that in the last 20 years ever?
I mean, definitely not in the last 20. I think in the last since Dan Campbell's been there, they have been creating this. They have been slowly putting the pieces together. I read an interesting piece on their GM Brad Holmes, who's a great mentor now of mine. He doesn't even know that, but he's motivating me because of my aspirations of what I want to accomplish. But they definitely been putting the pieces from the front office to the players, man. So it's not a super shock because I think once they got Dan Campbell, they believed in what he was preaching and just who his personality is. But to get this far, yes. To get this far for them, bro, just to be there is a milestone. And a lot of people really believe that they're going to win. If I was to say a word for me of the year, it's a new era. We say that every year, but this is really a new era. You have CJ Stroud doing what he's doing in Houston. You have Jordan Love doing what he's doing for the Packers. You have a new era and potentially Baker Mayfield getting re-signed and taking the Bucs to the divisional playoffs. Let's not undermine and undershadow that. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't that they just got to the playoffs. They beat the Eagles, who were slipping, but was in the Super Bowl last year, and then they got to the divisional round and kept it close for 3.5 quarters. And so for me, the whole word and everything is a new era. I think there's a new era with Lamar Jackson out there in Baltimore and what he's doing and what he's positioned himself. I heard Ryan Clark say today that this is the most impactful and biggest moment. And even Stephen A said for his career, if he fails, this is worse than Dak Prescott folding for the Cowboys. And it is. I mean, Lamar has answered the bell. And we'll get into what my answer is if he will answer bell on Sunday. But, man, we're going to start off with, whose legacy is bigger in the bigger moment right here? Jared Goff or Brock Purdy? I'm going to let you go first because my answer is pretty simple.
Legacy bigger, or whose got a bigger legacy on the line here?
Yeah.
Goff. It's Goff. It's Goff and the Lions and what he can do for the Lions and the franchise and the way that the state, San Francisco is used to championships. Detroit isn't. The legacy that Goff could leave behind and doing it for the city of Detroit, they'll build a statue for that guy outside of the stadium. I mean, that I got to go with Goff right there. I mean, I do believe, though, of course, everyone's got a legacy on the line. And this is going to come back to when we talk about best bets later. But George Kittle, a guy in San Francisco who's really, probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, maybe. I mean, yeah.
I mean, he's up there. I mean, he's definitely up there.
And this, I feel like this is going to be very, very important for him and his legacy as well. So yeah, with that all in mind, I definitely think it's Detroit and what it means to Detroit and what it means to them and all them. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if we're going based off the question, I'm gonna agree with Goff far as legacy, just because he's older than Purdy. Purdy's a little bit younger, so he got a little bit more youthfulness in him that he has time to develop. But I would say this is an open-ended question. I would say this is bigger for Brock Purdy's future. I mean, he's taken a lot of slander. In all due respect, I don't want to slander anybody, but I say things once again, comparing to Ryan Clark via ESPN NFL Live. we were very bold to put him in the same category as the Pat Mahomes and the Lamars and the Joe Burrows and the Josh Allen as far as being ready to be in the MVP conversation. Even, you know, I put him a little bit above Dak Prescott, but I wouldn't even put him above Justin Herbert. Now, Justin Herbert, that's some breaking news there with side part with uh, Jim Harbaugh going to Chargers. I think that's really big for them, but I think Justin Herbert's better than Brock Purdy. You give him the right coach, the right system. I guarantee you now the Chargers, we're going to see a different Chargers team. But back to Brock Purdy, this is bigger for his future. I mean, this is a legacy game in itself for his future because he needs to kind of silence the critics and the viewings of the 49ers faithful and the franchise. And this kind of solidifies him far as what his contract may look like in a couple years, you know, after him coming off a rookie year. They will remember that you took the San Francisco 49ers team of 2023 to the Super Bowl if you get the job done, and that will have big contentions into his contract. So I think future-wise, this is bigger for Brock Purdy. Legacy-wise, this is bigger for Jared Goff, for sure. I think Jared Goff has made a future with Lions no matter what. He's going to get re-signed for a max deal, and it's going to be – he's a top 10 quarterback in this league.
Yeah. So the comparison that we heard a lot with Brock Purdy was Tom Brady, right? And people would say, "Oh, like you can't do that. Like the GOAT, you can't compare him to the GOAT. What are you doing?" And really what it comes down to is if he can be in this system with San Francisco and stay in it for years to come, just like Brady was with the Belichick system, a player can develop better than his competitors like Justin Herbert. And, if they are in the system that, gives them the ability to develop, it's very, it very much so matters. You can't just if we're talking about just sticking guys on teams and, we're just placing Mahomes on the San Francisco 49ers, who's a better quarterback. Yeah, Mahomes has more talent than him. And right now, IQ wise, he's a better quarterback than him. But if Brock Purdy is in this system with San Francisco for a long period of time, like 6 to 10 years, and he develops at an increasing rate each year, I do believe that you can compare him down the line. The talent will be there compared to these other guys, just like how Brady got better, by the mid time of his career, he started becoming one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and most accurate. Brock Purdy is very, very early in his career. So, I'm not saying that Brock Purdy can, develop and be as good as develop as well as Tom Brady did by his fifth year or midway through his career. But I'm saying is that's where I believe the comparison comes from. So this game is so important to his legacy as well, that if he can win it and he can take this team to a Super Bowl, it just means that he's going to have a longer future in San Francisco and be able to develop for longer and get better as a player.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that we're both saying the same thing. It's tomato, how you look at it, how you slice it, how you dice it. But Brock Purdy's future is far more important than his legacy right now. He's a year 2 quarterback. Future.
Yeah.
Now I'm quoting, without a future, there's not a legacy. There's not a legacy, then a future.
He's got more on the line,
But that was a Shannon Sharp clip right there for you. Listen to just talking off of some quotes, some bars. Without a future, there's no legacy. You can't say without a legacy, there's no future, because it doesn't go in that order. A legacy is formed by a future. So that's why this is more important for his future from a quarterback's perspective, from a financial perspective and contract, and then from a perspective just for personal. He's been taking a lot of flack in the media. So it's like your future is on the line here in this game. Even if they lose, how are you looked? If he goes out there 28 for 35, 275, 300 yards, a couple of touchdowns, maybe one interception, and they still lose to the Lions, I feel like people will respect that. But if he gives us a performance that he did last week versus the Packers, where he had to rely a lot on that defense to get 2 big interceptions, and 2, he was undermined by Deebo Samuels, but we've been giving him this excuse. They're fully loaded this week. Deebo's healthy, been cleared today. Trent Williams is playing CMC in the backfield. My thing is this. They're favored right now at a -7.5. Plus money is on the Lions at -114. this is telling me that they're not really Vegas is not trusting in his performance, even with a full healthy team, because the money line, the money is more on Detroit with a +7.5. So my thing is, as I look at it, and we can flip right into, since we're doing NFC, we'll just stay here. We won't even go to AFC. We'll just go right into predictions and things like that. And just how I see this game, man, is a lot is riding on Brock Purdy's play. I think Lions do a phenomenal job in the run game. Thus far, even in the playoffs, they kind of shut down Kyron Williams with the Rams 2 weeks ago, and then last week kept Rachaad White very stealth-made with rushing yards. But they have a weakness, and we know that. That's their defensive backs. That's their corners. C.J. Gardner's been talking a lot about Debo. I'm very excited to see how this goes. I've been telling a lot of people, man. I sent you, what did I tell you today? I said, I don't think they got the player. They do got the player props up. If I was anybody, I would take Debo Samuels over 48.5 receiving yards and over 3.5 catches. He's hurt a lot. He's hurt, CJ. And that's the thing, too. Debo was here when this team went to the Super Bowl. That was his rookie year. So he remembers those moments, but he's playing with fuel. And anytime someone has said something to Debo, he's always reacted a certain way. So
that's a very good point. When it comes to the sports gambling perspective, motivation, what they say to the press is a great, thing that I like to use, and I'm sure you like to use as well. I mean, if you can take these guys for their word, it's a good bet. You know what I mean? And you bet on GOATs and you bet on good players, and Debo is a guy who really has had multiple weeks of being a top 5 receiver and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's interesting. The being a little bit banged up, it's going to be hard for me to rock with Debo, but I am going to rock with Purdy. You know what I mean? But we'll get to best bets, when we get to it. But I do believe, I completely agree with you. Detroit secondary is suspect, and the Brock Purdy, if Goff is pushing the limits, if the Lions are pushing the game and the limits, I mean, they're going to be doing it, throwing the ball. So Brock Purdy's going to have to throw the ball. And McCaffrey, I mean, that guy was getting the ball, 20 times last week. I'm sure he's a little bit banged up. So they're going to have to rely on Purdy this week.
Yeah. So now, I mean, just looking at statistics and things like that, it's not like we can't super praise this 49ers defense. They've been pretty solid the whole year, but they got no sacks on Jordan Love last week. Detroit line is a little bit better than the Packers to me. And two, I think they know that coming into the game. This is a very equally schematic game on both sides. Like, 49ers defense isn't a slouch, but it's not like they don't have any. They have holes in their defense, and they can be beat. They can definitely be exposed. I definitely will say that. And I think I want to root. I'm not giving you my answer yet. I want to definitely just root for the game plan of Dan Campbell offensively. I don't see this being a game where their defense is going to be able to match San Francisco's offense like the Packers did last week. I just think if San Fran, let me finish this real quick. I think if San Fran just leans to the understanding of their passing game versus a very under par, poorly defensive backfield of the Lions, this can be a back and forth game.
Yeah. LaFleur coached a great game last week. And, if he had more talent, they probably would have won that game if they had a more talented team. San Francisco, from, up to down, best roster in the league by far. And, they get Chase Young in the midseason, like, one of the best defensive pass rushers. He's really, starting to come about now. That is going to be huge for them if they win this game and in the Super Bowl. Chase Young might be a dark horse MVP in the Super Bowl. Just keep your eye out.
Well, there goes your one mulligan for the day. Don't see that coming. This guy hasn't.
Hey, that's gonna be some nice. There's gonna be some nice odds.
That'd be some crazy odds. So I mean, you're usually good for one of those. He just hasn't recorded a sack in the postseason yet. So I don't think he's recorded. Even in his time there, he might have recorded maybe 2 or 3 sacks in the time.
He's getting pressure though.
I mean, yeah, which is But yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you, which is important, which is definitely important. But to win a defensive MVP or MVP in the Super Bowl,
But the odds, hey, the juice on that's gonna be like plus 3,000.
plus 300,000. It's pushing it a little bit. But no, as I just evaluate this and kind of break down the NFC game, man, right now, -7, over under 51.5. We're not making any picks right now. I'm just throwing everything out there. And
We
just
like to
looking at
sprinkle,
yeah,
while we talk. We like to
yeah,
sprinkle a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. And I'm going to the sports references and just looking at the Lions, it's both evenly matched when we talk about passing defense. Like there's no team that's really standing out. Like San Francisco right now, total passing yards, or let me see. There we go. Better. Average passing yards a game. San Francisco is top 3, but at the same time, when you look at per play or per first down, 11.5 yards. So, I think Dan Campbell's goal is to lean on what they're great at. They have 2 great running backs, but I don't think that's going to be a factor here. Are you really going to want to keep running the ball against Joey Bosa, Fred Warner, who reads run good? And their linebackers are good and athletic, but I think I'm being serious. How I seen them beat Detroit was a lot crossing routes, deep. I'm just giving my idea of what the game is going to look like. So when the fans in the audience of our audience and our is watching understand football now, it's a lot of corners, it's a lot of deep cross or dig routes. That's how Detroit is going to have to win. And then, yes, you're going to sprinkle in screenplays from Jamar Gibbs, and then you'll run dives with David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs. But where you win is Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, a healthy Laporta, even Jamison Williams, who I think is now, if you want to talk about a dark horse, that's a secret weapon that still hasn't even been used due to the fact of he's trying to gel in an offense that is not big on explosive plays. If you notice that Detroit's offense is not big on vertical passing, like you're gonna get some bombs out of Josh Allen. You'll get a couple against Joe Burrow, with Cincinnati. But Detroit, and even Brock Purdy. I seen the stat before we got on the air today on ESPN's betting show that they said the best bet was Brock Purdy over 40.5 yards for his total pass, longest completion, because they expect they're going to throw the ball, or Debo can take it for 65 versus these DBs. So my thing is Detroit has to take some shots.
Yeah, and
they can't rely on just sitting back trying to dink and dunk and methodically, because that gives time for the pressure to develop and the defense to see kind of what is your game plan. You have to keep them honest.
Yeah, and I mean, I think from a sports betting perspective, which is awesome, is to on your point is to think about how a team has to win a game, and what you said about if Goff has to throw outside, deep, you know what I mean. I'd be looking at Goff's longest pass over 40 yards, and I think that's I like that better. Hearing from what you believe the game plan, how they're gonna have to win, and 49ers safeties are cheese. Like that shouldn't be too hard for Goff, an established quarterback.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I like we gotta amount this. I feel like there's such a narrative of a bully. Like it's a David and Goliath almost, that we've given San Francisco so much credit. But bro, they've looked like straight ass in a couple games. In last week for 3 quarters, I was sweating bullets because I had a personal bet on with a friend, and I'm like, dude, I might have to pay $100 because they're fucking defense.
Yeah, it's the safeties.
Yeah,
the linebackers are good though.
Yeah, because
the front seven is good.
I didn't expect the Packers to do that. And so me saying that, I think you have the same, or if not better, quarterback, Jordan Love and Jared Goff. They're right there. I'd say Jordan Love has a little bit more arm talent, like just natural talent as a quarterback, but Jared Goff is very efficient, and he can throw the long ball. He can throw the medium ball. He can throw the short game. I just think now I do definitely think Detroit has the better receiving weapons.
Oh, Goff has a way better supporting cast than the Packers. I mean, the Packers, Jordan Love is the best player on that offense right now. And Jordan Love, as good as he has become by the end of this season, at the beginning of the season, it was looking very rocky. And I mean, he does not have any receivers. His tight ends are young; they're nobodies. And Aaron Jones is on that way out of his career. I mean, he's a great running back, but he's almost done, and he was injured a lot this year. So I mean, way better offense that that they're going to have to deal with. So yeah, I mean, that's something to consider as well. Absolutely.
So my question to you is then if you're an offense coordinator watching this defensive film from last week, are you not saying, hey, we can make some plays happen? We can really shock the world in a sense and not only keep this game close, but do you really give the Lions a legitimate chance to win this game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. With everything that we just said in the last 5 minutes about how good Detroit's offense is compared to the Packers offense, which was able to put up so many points on the 49ers. I mean, the Packers offense, Jordan Love is going to be probably a superstar, but he had a terrible supporting cast this year. I mean, that's just being real. Like, there's nobody on that offense. Goff and the Lions have a sick offense. Every single position is lit. They got two fantastic running backs, the best run game in the league. I mean, I'd be very scared if I was a 49ers fan this week. And, I mean, if things get out of hand the way that we're talking right now in this instance, right now we're blowing smoke with the Lions. We blow smoke with the 49ers too. But right now at this moment, we're talking about the Lions. The Lions could maybe wax the 49ers. I mean, win this game by 14 points. Because if Purdy can't keep up and Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant and it shows, and Goff is MVP level Goff, this thing could get out of hand.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing in California. He's a California boy. He did play at Cal. So.
The NFL is very unpredictable. And
no, very much so.
I mean, the thing that you don't think is going to happen often happens.
And that's why I'm asking, because I'm looking at the stat lines and we're big. We got to be numbers guys too in this business that we do. We're experts here, man. Both of these teams, Detroit is 88.5 yards rushing. San Francisco 89.7 rushing defense, rushing yards allowed. So I'm like, CMC can't have a great day. And if he does, it's a fight in the claw great day. Like, Lions know that. They know that. So I'm like, man, this has to be a heavy dose. George Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo's back. Like, you have to make this game through the air, and it's over-under with ESPN's betting site saying it's more lean to go 51.5 over. So that's telling me we're going to be in a track meet, something similar to next week, and then it gets late in that game, and then that's when the run game gets involved, because then who can get that 4-minute drive in the fourth quarter? Can CMC break one for a long run like he did last week versus Green Bay? I'm being an expert in one sentence, and then the next week, we're bro bet. So I'm thinking, like, I'm trying to make everybody a profit here. And so,
Well, everybody's got a different view on who and how they think the game's going to go.
And I don't just mean that monetary either. I'm talking about fans. I want their fans to win the game and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put your risk, your risk amount, your dollar amount of risk to what you believe could happen, what you think is going to happen. Your dollar weighs out how much belief you have in what you think is going to happen. And you can use stats, you can use however you feel to make that prediction. But, as we're talking, I mean, look, I like to sprinkle a little bit here and there. I like to put all my chips out on the roulette table. I like to have multiple chances of winning. And a nice bet, hey, if you're riding with the Lions, you might think, hey, these guys might, on offense, they could just, really set the 49ers back. And it could be a rough day for the 49ers. Now, that's not necessarily where I'm going. I'm still, I know how good the 49ers are. I'm just saying, if you want to sprinkle a little bit, if you got $100 and you want to put $1 on the fact that the Lions might whoop the 49ers, hey, it might not be a bad bet, because if you're risking $1 to make $15, that's a pretty good risk reward. It depends on how you feel, though.
And this is how you see it, man. So, I mean, we've definitely analyzed this, man. I want to pivot right next to the AFC, which I think it's a much easier analysis. It's gonna be a tough game in both games to me. I don't like what people are just believing that Baltimore is just gonna whoop the Chiefs. It can get out of hand. It definitely has the makings. I will give Baltimore their respect, but I don't totally see that. That's not just how I see. How do you see the game, Parlay?
So this is a game, when I was thinking about best bets and stuff, I like to bet on the overs because I believe my logic is that people are going out there to play the game and go over. I think this is going to be a defensive game. I think people are going to be hitting unders. I think that the Baltimore defense is going to show up, and I think the Chiefs defense is going to show up. Now that might be more in favor of Baltimore, a team that runs the ball. Mark Andrews is back. I'm not really concerned about that, but listen, I think I don't know who's going to win this game, and I think it's going to be a defensive game. That's what I'll say. And so I'd be looking towards, an under. I'd be looking towards tough defense. I think that this Baltimore defense is really, really good. And the Chiefs defense is really, really good. That's where I'm going. And I think they both run the ball. I'd be looking at Pacheco. I believe that Pacheco's over under is going to be, he had a great week last week, and it'd be if his over under is probably going to be pretty high. So I'm probably not going to go there. I'd probably just be looking at some type of under with the total points. And I just think it's going to be a defensive game, but you got two superstar stud quarterbacks. We didn't talk about legacy with these two teams, but a lot of, No, but there's a lot of legacy on the line for Lamar and Mahomes, because we talked earlier this week. This is is this going to be a Chiefs dynasty? If they win this year, I mean, you know what people are going to be saying about the Chiefs? It's going to be like, they're going to be talking about them like how they were talking about the Patriots a few years ago. I mean, it is going to be that type of scenario if the Chiefs, run away with all this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, bro, I've said this year, and for this playoff, more so this playoffs. Outside the Steelers, I'm not gonna lie, the Chiefs have been my favorite team, and it's weird to say that because of how great they are, and it's like, oh, you're jumping on the band. No, it's this year, and I've heard it on ESPN literally earlier today. It's like literally this year. This is a year for Pat Mahomes and his team where they're underdog. They don't have that same type of firepower as normal, even from a mental fortitude of us experts and media believing in them, and they've fought and clawed to get here. And we know what greatness looks like because they've done it twice, and he's been there 6 times now to the AFC Championship. 6 straight times, bro. Tom Brady hasn't even done that. I don't believe. No, because all his championships are like stair step. I don't believe he's been there 6 straight.
Well, let's not get into the fact checking during the podcast.
No, we'll not get into the fact check, but you guys can go fact check that. But
you guys can fact check.
That's like us saying at one point LeBron was in the Eastern Finals 6 straight times. He was, and so just to get there, bro.
Yeah,
that speaks to what type of work in and year out Andy Reid, from the front office to Andy Reid to the players. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs are in this game in the fourth quarter. And I would be more concerned if I was a Ravens fan going in the fourth quarter and the game is even them up 17. Even if they were up 17-7 and the Chiefs had the ball going in the fourth quarter, that would make me nervous.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to disagree with you a little bit upon the fact that how I feel about this team compared to how I feel about last year. Now, last year I picked them in the Super Bowl. I was riding with the Chiefs every time they were underdogs last year. I loved the Chiefs last year. This year, I don't love the Chiefs as much. Once Bieniemy left, hey, it's okay to have contradicting opinions. Once Bieniemy left, they turned into a run-first offense. And I believe that is not their core. That is not their heart. Their heart is quarterback Patrick Mahomes slanging that ball. You know what I'm saying? Pause. But that should be their identity. And I think with Travis Kelce getting older, he is regressing a little bit. And with the receivers coming down, now they have Rashee Rice. So I don't know what's going to happen next year. But I just actually personally, I don't like the Chiefs as much. But you're more of a defensive guy. I mean, you're a cornerback. You're a former corner.
Yeah,
you're a defensive guy. You like defense. And I personally kind of like offense. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that I think that when it comes to the Chiefs and going to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship, I actually lean more towards Baltimore winning this game. And whoever the Chiefs go against in the Super Bowl, I don't know. I don't want to get there. I don't even want to.
I lean to Baltimore too. Let's make this correct. I lean to Baltimore because of what they've done this year. But ultimately, everything goes into the pot when this is a hat and t-shirt game. When people are playing for something that really means something, not just another W or to get you to the game, per se, this is a different game. So for me, I definitely lean to the success of the Ravens. I'm just saying the Chiefs are proven. And let me fact check you on one thing. They weren't an underdog last year. They played at home. Think about this too now. If we've said, oh, can he win on the road?
Talking about the Super Bowl. They were an underdog in the Super Bowl.
They were. Respect. They
That's
were.
what I was talking about.
Yeah. Respect. My bad. You're right. They were, because we heard about, how good a front seven is and the Eagles defense and blase blah. The same boat we're hearing for the 49ers game. We're hearing this for the Ravens game. We're hearing this. How great a defense really is. Let's not forget. But
there's one guy on Baltimore who's a superstar, who's an MVP,
but he doesn't play defense. Let me get to the Ravens schedule real quick.
But he's electrifying.
He is very much, but he doesn't play defense, like I said, bro. So let me go back.
Give me hype.
They lost to the Colts. They lost to us late. I'm not gonna count that one. Or is this early?
Steelers?
No, this is early. Well, I'm looking for, where's the game at? I'm looking for.
You say us, you mean the Steelers?
They lost to us at the end of the season, but before that they had won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They lost to the
who's us?
The Steelers. They lost to us, the Steelers, but then they lost to the Browns. But remember, the game they beat that they were supposed to lose was to the Rams in overtime. In that game, which I believe Kansas City definitely watched that film of that game. I'm telling you, bro, we talk how good this defense is. And either I'm just super wrong this week, I'm a little bit right. And I'm just telling you, they have a good front seven. I wouldn't call it great. I think Andy Reid is a mastermind at what he does, especially in championship games. Now, the way they lose is the fact that they really just don't got no weapons outside of 87, 10, and 4. That's how I think they lose. But if you want to say, can they match and is 8 better than 15? I'm not going to say that.
Okay. I'm confused. Who are all these people? You got Kelce, Rice, Mahomes, Lamar?
Great Gatsby, Michael Irvin, Josh Bryan. I don't give a fuck.
Some of us don't know the numbers.
Rashee Rice is 4, Kelsey's 87, and 10 Pacheco. Come on, man. I'm just saying Lamar Jackson is the MVP this year.
You gotta dumb it down for me.
Lamar Jackson MVP this year, number 8, but I'm not gonna say he's that much better than Mahomes. Mahomes is a champion, man. That's like us saying, that's like us saying, what would be a great comparison? Who's playing crazy? That's like us saying, when he was healthy and when he was playing at an MVP rate, Ja Morant is better than Steph Curry. Come on, bro. Or they get into the Western Finals and we seen what Ja Morant did for all this year, but we forget what Steph Curry done did for years in this moment. Now I'm talking like Stephen A. We forget that. That's all I'm. No. Parlay. We have to consider that as a serious source.
Absolutely. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. He is an MVP.
No, I'm not saying he's the best quarterback. In the NFL this year, Lamar Jackson was the best quarterback. In the NFL, as far as championship moments, right now, without no Tom Brady in the NFL no more, is Patrick Mahomes.
And MVP stuff really has to do with how well the team is doing and the team around them. But the guy.
Well,
if we're doing a fantasy draft, the first quarterback going off the board is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but I'm saying Lamar Jackson definitely earned his MVP. It was elected, but the way he beat teams, the way he beat the 49ers, the way he beat the Dolphins 56-19, the certain games that we've seen, he did certain things.
Absolutely.
Yes, we can't take that away. All I'm saying is, and this matters, championship mood, bro. Yeah. I'm telling you, if this game, it's either, I'll now finish with this so we can get into our picks. This game is either going to go a blowout by halftime or the Chiefs win it close in the fourth quarter. If it get close in the fourth quarter and the Chiefs got the ball.
So I started this conversation with saying I didn't have a pick. I am going to make a pick now. And because I talked myself into it, but I love everything you said, and you make great points. And I think people watching this podcast will agree with you and maybe change their picks based on what you said. But I'm gonna go with Baltimore, and my other pick in the NFC is gonna be Detroit after the conversations that we've had. And I just think that Detroit on offense is electrifying, and I believe that on defense. And Lamar, I believe that Baltimore. So those are going to be my predictions. What are your good predictions?
Well, I'm gonna start with the NFC game. My heart is really torn here. I really, like we said, we want Detroit. We're leaning for the city. They've been so many years, man. They're getting plus money at no, they're not getting plus money, but they're more favored with the plus 7.5 at a minus 114. So betting wise, I definitely would lean to that. I don't see them getting blown out. But I just ultimately think that San Francisco's gonna win. I just some gut feeling. I just say San Francisco's gonna win.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
But should be a very good game. I think that one will be just as intriguing as the first one. And in the first one, man, it's Baltimore's time. They've been dominating this whole year. Lamar MVP. But that man, number 15, man, I got to say, he is impressive, man. He is very impressive. So with that being said, man. Give me Baltimore money line, man.
You know what? I thought we were about to have some character development. I thought you were about to change who you were as a person and pick the Chiefs. I really did. I really thought you were about to pick the Chiefs. That would have been crazy, man. That would have been a whole...
I know 2 minutes ago I said a lot about 15 championship mood right now, but I'm going to say this, and this off the record, as a fellow Black man and former athlete and competitor, I think, and this is my soundbite for the day, for the week, I will clip this. Lamar Jackson knows what time it is. He knows what moment he's in right now. The streets is watching. The hood is watching. Everybody watching. He don't get this done, he ain't going to care about what the damn media got to say. He might be disregarded from the crib. You feel what I'm saying? So I think he knows what type of moment he is in, and he got to get the job done. That's sole reason. Because if you put Lamar Jackson on the Seattle, it's not Seattle. Give me a very one of those teams. Give me a
Indianapolis.
If you put him on Indianapolis, thank you. It wouldn't be the same feeling. Baltimore. When you hear Baltimore, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Javonte Davis, Carmelo Anthony, the
Baltimore,
DMV, the whole DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Baltimore. So that what that means for the city. So I think that is what gets the Ravens to win, because he understands he's got to be on his A game. They come out firing. I don't think that it's going to be a very great statistical game for him per se. Maybe it will, but I think that he makes enough big plays And I think that their defense does show up in some moments due to the fact that, like I said, the Chiefs only got 87 and 10 as true weapons. And I think Baltimore could run away with this one by halftime. That's how I see it.
Real quick, do you think Mark Andrews is going to be a factor?
That's a great question. I mean, I think a lot of people are making a lot of hype. I definitely think he will get involved. But at this time, I'm big on more so who's in rhythm, who's hot right now. Why go against and get away from Isaiah Likely when he's been balling? Like that's kind of shitting on the man too. Like that's kind of fucked up. So I definitely could see Mark Andrews getting even 3 catches, maybe even a touchdown if they get in the goal line package and more teams are leaning to guard Isaiah Likely and he gets that matchup. But if I'm Baltimore, OC Todd Monken, I'm sticking with the script, sprinkling him in there in a couple packages and things like that.
Could be a nice decoy.
For sure. I mean, he definitely plays a better part if they make it to the Super Bowl because now you have 2 tight ends, less pressure on your receivers, more weapons, can run the ball a little bit better with tight ends out there to block. So yeah, but right now I don't see why you even need to rush because 2, just like Debo, when you're coming off serious injuries like that, are you really 100% like they think? That's my whole point. So I think it's very much more of a show game rather than a real money game. So I think that's the way it looks, man. But those are our picks, man. I mean, hey, it's on air now. We can't take it back, bro.
Yeah, no, yeah. Did as far as like best bets go and like people that I'm looking at for over unders, I'm gonna be looking at Kittle. I think I think there's a big motivation factor. Detroit's defense on tight ends isn't it's ranked like 20th. I think that Purdy's gonna have to throw the ball. So with Debo's injury, I'm gonna be looking heavy on Kittle, maybe and maybe a little bit on Ayuk and maybe a little bit on Purdy, but mostly Kittle.
Yeah, no, that's good that you said that. You said that's your best bet?
Yeah.
Crazy. You kind of, working some magic with ESPN. That's what they said on ESPN. And I think that's true. Best bet was over 61.5 yards total for George Kittle. I think he does it. I think it's crazy that I don't know what Brock Purdy's relationship with his Ayuk, bro. Did you see Ayuk's stat that came out on ESPN this week? Like 75 catches on only like maybe 100 targets and 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's
Yeah,
wild.
it's interesting. That is
So,
interesting.
I don't know. Brock
Yeah.
Purdy just gives me weird vibes, bro. I don't want to slander the man. I don't know him personally. I don't want to call him something that I would like to call him, but he definitely gives me MAGA vibes. He
A
definitely
lot
does.
of a lot of guys on that team give me MAGA vibes.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Bosa,
Yeah, Bosa definitely. He's
Bosa definitely is MAGA.
yeah. So I don't know. And I think that's the dilemma with the relationship because I'm like, he's your number one. If I'd take him on fucking Steelers. You put Ayuk and GP together, gosh, jeez.
It also has a lot to do with that game plan and how that offense is and like I mean the way that they relied on McCaffrey last week was almost like he was bailing them out.
Yeah.
And that's not good. You don't want to get bailed out by one guy.
Yeah. And so me going to that, I think Detroit knows that. They know that McCaffrey is their best player. And I think seeing the stats here, their rushing yards, 88.5 yards a game, 3.7 yards per attempt. They know that, let's stick to that early on. That's why I say, man, since you took Kittle, I'll take Debo. I think Debo goes over and catches. He's a minus 128 on FanDuel for over 3.5. Probably on Prize Pick, it's probably at 4. So give me that because I still think he'll even get 5 catches. I think Debo is a big part. He comes back healthy. No shoulder injury. He definitely finds the end zone, I think. And then 2, I think Debo hurt CJ Gardner Jr. He hurt him, and he's going to show that. Every time somebody has talked to Debo, he has showed up. Debo is not a bitch. He's not a hoe. And I respect CJ Gardner, but in this battle, Debo he's that guy. I don't think CJ Gardner wants to see him. And it's crazy because they'll match up because Debo's in the slot and he's at safety. So this is going to be interesting, bro. This is going to be an interesting one right there. What's your best bets in the AFC?
I'm not even gonna. I have nothing. I only thing I'll say is under or some type of defensive, like whatever you believe as a whatever you think defensively is gonna happen. I would lean that way. I just think that it's gonna be a defensive game. I think both those defenses are just rock solid.
Yeah. My best bet, Harrison Buckner, kicker.
Cool.
I think
That's cool.
he goes over two field goals. I think Baltimore's defense shows up. They can get to the red zone, but I think field goals will play a part. So
Nice.
yeah, man. So let's transition real quick. Parlay's got a segment in here. We want to just briefly talk about some future team needs and things like that. But let's talk about this coaching carousel. We'll be remorse if we didn't talk about this coaching carousel. You know, the majority of the time, Bill Belichick was leaning to going to the Falcons. Falcons end up taking Raheem Morris. Brian Callahan, former Bengals coordinator, goes to Tennessee. Panthers take the offensive coordinator. I forgot his name, David something from the Bucks. Just kind of updating everybody with that. And then come on, man. Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers. We have to talk a little bit about this carousel and how you see that. Antonio Pierce actually got that deal done with the Raiders too. So we got two open vacancies left, Seahawks and the Commanders, I believe. I don't know which way they're going to go.
Definitely a big day for the Chargers. I mean,
that's
huge. They just landed. That was the best case scenario for them. They got one of the best coaches on the market. Not the best, but because obviously we got Belichick still there and whatnot. But yeah, one of the best coaches, and that he's got a lot to prove, and he's a great head coach. So I think that will be huge for them. And Justin Herbert, now we're expecting like Justin Herbert from a few years ago when he was lighting up and winning games, and at that top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and if he's rolling, it could be the top 3.
No, I think it's a dawn of a new day with the Chargers. They have, let's not forget last year they had the debacle in the playoffs versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with a Jim Harbaugh team, that would have never happened. I think Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. Everybody's asking, can he come back and do good in the NFL? And I'm like, let's not forget he fucking took the 49ers to a Super Bowl. Let's not forget he played his brother in the Super Bowl some years back. Ray Lewis went out on as a champion with Colin Kaepernick at quarterback. Not shitting on Kaepernick at all, but I definitely think Justin Herbert's a lot better passing quarterback than Colin Kaepernick, who has some decent legs to him. So pause. So I think that this is a great fit. Now, I think more importantly for Jim Harbaugh is definitely, which he's reasonably always done a good job, is creating a good staff around him. I can't really never tell if he's more of an offensive minded guy or of a defense. I just think he's a coach's coach. He has great values, tough, discipline, real like Bill Belichick vibe, Bill Parcells, Nick Saban, even like he comes from that type of cloth of like old school football. Like I'm going to be the guy that rah-rahs and values are in the right place. I don't think even now he wants to get into the analytical side of things and being like a whiz himself. It's the guys that he puts around him. So it'll be interesting. One person said, what if he was to go get Bill Belichick as a defense coordinator? That'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy. I think also a lot goes on with the GM too. Like, I mean, now that we have older coaches and we have younger coaches and we have player coaches and we have analytical coaches and we have, old school coaches, it really, I think a GM is as important as the coach now when it comes to building these teams and getting the right guys who will take on that leadership, because not every guy responds to leadership the same way. Some players respond better to other forms of leadership. So it's a lot is going to change, I believe, in the NFL this offseason.
I heard a report that, really Sean Payton didn't wait his time. He was supposed to get this job, which is crazy because I think now, thinking about it, he would have been way more fit with Justin Herbert, kind of repetitive to a Drew Brees type of quarterback, a little bit taller and bigger. But I think it's funny. So it'll be interesting. But that whole division now, bro, is going to be – we always keep saying the AFC West every year, like AFC West, AFC West. But now from a coaching perspective, you really got some juggernauts in there. And it's like it'd be interesting to see. But I'm really impressed with that Raheem Morris pickup for the Falcons. I think that's big for the culture. getting a black man down there in the Dirty Birds in the ATL, man. You know, the City Jeezy, Lil Baby, everybody's gonna be behind that. Ti, Boozy will be at the game. You know, I think that's big. But very unsure about the Tennessee job, and I really don't know about the Panthers. I don't know much about this coach coming from the Bucks. Like, he did great in 1 year with Baker, but it's like, you know, coaching jobs in NFL are crazy. You get picked up literally off of 1 year. It's like ironic to you taking a test in school. You may shit your whole homework. You do good on one test. It's like you're getting an A. So it's like, I guess. So it's interesting to see what those other vacancies will look like. People saying Mike Vrabel to the Seahawks. I don't know. Commanders, I think it's time. I mean, now with Magic, our owner, we got to get some fire over there, man. You got the enemy. Like, I don't know, why not promote him? It's kind of weird. It's a weird situation because he's an OC and associate head coach. So it's like weird.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, as time goes on, there will be new breaking news, and a lot will come about in these next few weeks. We'll have a lot to talk about with new hires, but yeah, definitely a new change in Los Angeles. And I mean, like you said, with the AFC West, like what we thought the AFC West was going to be this year is probably going to be what it is next year. Sean Payton will be more in tune with that team. They'll have a new quarterback. But then of course the Raiders will get better, and they're really great, and they got a solid coach. And then now we're probably going to see the Chargers take a leap, and Kansas City, they're always going to be good. We've seen it now with a whole, player, like a whole kind of change of the way that they play ball, and they're still going to the AFC Championship. So yeah, that the AFC West will be interesting, and there will be some interesting futures bets that we'll probably talk about on the show. Who's going to win the AFC West next year, and who's going to, in the off season when you can make those futures bets that have some longer odds, which are fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll also talk about my Steelers team and their needs that they can, maybe have a future bets in quarterback. We're still in the sweepstakes for Justin Fields. I kind of really, would like that to happen, but we'll see, man. Patriots, I think they're going to go get Jaden Daniels in the draft. I think that's going to be a very big upgrade. Trusting Gerard Mayo's plan and building off of that. And as far as the Falcons, I think, like I just said, they got their guy. Now they got to get a quarterback. Another interesting name to me, and I don't know why people try to relate him to my team, but Russell Wilson, obviously no longer quarterback with Denver Broncos. And this is just hindsight, little talk as we kind of wrap up the show. But where do you see Russ? What's his legacy? What's ending for him after that? I really have no.
I would like to see him on the Steelers. No. I think that he would ball out on the Steelers. I don't think
what logic brings that?
Having been in the league for a long time and seeing all types of defenses, and just being, I believe, like I don't think Russ really got a fair shot this year. I don't think Sean Payton.
I mean,
Sean Payton. I didn't think Sean Payton did a good job coaching this year. I thought he did okay, but his expectations, he did not meet his expectations. I mean, no matter what you say, I mean, we had high expectations for the Broncos and Sean Payton. And if you want to bail him out by saying Russ sucks, that's fine, but that's a cop-out. Sean Payton sucked too. He got his butt whooped by the Miami Dolphins, 70 points. I mean, suck on that. So it's just like, Sean Payton, whatever you're doing over there, I think you lost it. I think Drew Brees carried your nuts to the fucking, all right, you know what? I'm going to slow down a little bit. But yeah, nah, Sean Payton ain't nothing, all right? Yeah, Drew Brees carried his ass. Let's just go there. Let's just talk about
This is a PG show.
Hey, you cussed 30 times before me, bro. No. But no, that's everything I said is valid in my opinion. So I just think that I think Russ still does. He's still a top 15, top 20 quarterback. He should have a job. I mean, why not?
Okay. I've seen this in the news this week. Should Cam Newton have a job?
Cam Newton has a messed up shoulder. You know what I mean? He's got like,
why not Atlanta? That'd be good
for Russ. Yeah, why not?
Not Atlanta. No, Cam to Atlanta.
Cam has a bum shoulder, bro. I don't think his shoulder works at all.
I'm just saying. He said
he can throw.
He said he'll go to Atlanta. He said he'll go.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure Cam would go to Atlanta. I think he would too.
Yeah,
but he
I
can't
mean,
throw anymore.
I don't see Russ going to. I'm not gonna say I don't see it. We're still interviewing for OC, which is interesting because I know we didn't mention the Bears, but the Bears, interesting take. All my friends that are Bears fans think that if Cliff Kingsbury goes there as the OC, then that for sure means Caleb Williams is coming, which in fact means that they have to ship Justin Fields somewhere or trade for some picks or something.
You
So,
know, Cliff Kingsbury is an experiment, bro. Like I don't
but he
think,
would be an OC, not a head coach.
yeah, even as an OC, man, he's calling the plays. Like that guy is experimental. I mean, I don't know if I don't. I mean, if a Bears fans want him, yeah, you could take him. I mean, but I don't. I mean, the guy, he went to Thailand after he got fired. He spent a week in Thailand.
What are you against that? What type of shit is that? Fucking discrimination is that? He got fired. So what you want him to go spend a week in the fucking
I
South?
mean, it's
You want him
just
to go spend a week in the South Bronx? Is that what you want him to do?
no. I'm just saying, like you hop on you go to Thailand. You hop on a plane. You go to Thailand. You don't talk to anybody, and you know what you're doing in Thailand. Like you know what's
What are
going
you
down in
doing in
Thailand.
Thailand? You want to share? You care to share?
No, I'm just saying, you know what's going down in Thailand. Everyone knows what's going down in
I don't
Thailand.
know what's going down there. I
Oh,
feel
okay.
like the man went on a fucking vacation. Shit.
Hey, wish him all the best. I wouldn't want him, coaching my football team. He's too experimental. Reminds me of Brandon Staley.
Okay. Yeah, you still have nightmares of Brandon Staley, which will probably get a
I
job.
don't have nightmares. I'm in his nightmares.
Balls, but kind of. Yeah.
I'm scaring him. I'm the
He might
boogeyman.
he might get a job for the Packers. That's all I was gonna say. He
Yeah,
just
yeah.
interviewed for the DC. We'll see what goes down, man. You want to review your best bets for the people, man?
No, it's just Kittle, and I mean it was a great show, and I think that I'm looking at 49ers offense because I think that they're gonna have to push the limit, and I'm looking at defense in that AFC game. I think that's gonna be those identities, those teams' identities, are defense with two superstar quarterbacks. So, I mean,
It's just so hard for me to believe that even the NFL in their script would make Pat Mahomes and them get blown out. And I'm hearing a lot of people put more money towards that happening, and I'm like, I don't know how I see that.
I don't like that. No, I don't like a blowout. No way.
Yeah,
It's close. It's close.
yeah. So, man, it's been real, man. Parlay, what you got on tap for the night, man? Out there in
Hey, you know what it is, man. 16 a day from Parlay. We drop
16.
Parlay of the day. You know what
I'm
I
not
mean?
gonna lie.
On all channels. What?
This one today might have been your best one. I'm not gonna lie. You kind of that. It sounded more like a diss track than even a.
You know what? It was a
I didn't
disc
even.
because I've been posting my parlays, and I had somebody commenting saying, "Oh, you lost your parlay, so I'm just gonna fade you and do the exact opposite tomorrow." And I'm like, dude, like, if you want to put that negative ish on my stuff, go to a different go find somebody else. Like I tell people, like my parlays are 5% or less of my bankroll. So if you have $100, that's $5 going on the parlay. I'm not putting any more than that on my parlays. It's a risky bet, but that's what we do. We take risks, and we take risks every day, and we spread our chips on the roulette table, and we try to hit big. But I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna come around on my stuff, put some negative thing because I lose a bet or I lose a parlay, then you're just not in the culture. You haven't been around here for a long time. You haven't been on a losing streak. You haven't lost before. You haven't really been there. You don't have the nuts to put them on the line and tell people, hey, this is where I'm going. You just hide behind your screen, and you write negative stuff on people who put their nuts out there. So you know what I mean? I was a diss track, and if you keep putting that negative stuff on my ish, then you might get dissed.
I mean, I feel like you're right. I agree with you. I mean, you definitely went absurd with that cement bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming, but hey, it was tough, bro. It was really like some 90s New York diss track, Ether, Reasonable Doubt.
I've been rapping since the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm from.
Okay. See, now you told me not before the show not to go there as far as, clowning on each other, but you saying that and you looking not like you were. I mean, you do look like you've been rapping. We're out of here, bro. Hey,
You know what
hey,
it
hey,
is.
hey, hey, wait. Hey, wait, we gotta wait. You gotta do it one more time because this is a new thing now. You know, it's 16 a day, but it's also parlay on Bro Bets, giving us a little bars to close out and fade to black. The people were asking about it. They seen it last week and they were asking about it, man. So you
Oh
gotta
man,
give us something today from the office.
Jesus.
From the office. Hey, it could be about the AFC and the NFC game. It doesn't have to be whatever.
Hey,
It has to
all
be
right, all
something.
right. I'll give you a few. I'll give you a few. I'll give you a few. We've been sitting here doing this podcast for 2 hours. I'm getting really uptight. I need to smoke some flower.
Ooh,
I need to chill out, lay in my bed, watch some power.
ooh,
You know, all I got on the cookie jar is straight sour.
ooh,
So hit me up. I could get you an ounce.
ooh.
Anytime I see an easy bet, you know I pounce.
Okay.
But anyway, we gonna wrap up the show. Don't leave them disses on my comments or I'll call you a hoe. You know what it is.
You know
Robo
what
bet.
it is. Robo Bets, that is Parlay. I'm Life D Green. We will see you guys next week.